Welcome to Hero Club.
I'm Nick Williams.
And I'm George Primavera.
George and I started playing Dungeons & Dragons with our buddies in college, and we haven't stopped since. Even when we lived on opposite coasts, I would Skype in George on the TV in the living room of my apartment,
while I would DM from the floor of my bathroom so as not to wake up my roommate. When I finally came out to Los Angeles, we started playing with our friends right away.
And when we'd inevitably tell other people about the ultimate betrayals and daring heroics that happened in our games, we realized that they were just hearing a jumbled mess instead of the cinematic blockbuster memories that were in our heads. We wanted to show people how fun and immersive D&D can be, especially those who had never played.
And to do that, we record a full game like normal around the table and then painstakingly cut it down from 4 hours to a clean, math-free episode, so you can experience our memories the way we do.
Just like in a real game, nothing is ever written or planned out ahead of time with the players. The only things we add are music and sound effects.
I am the Dungeon Master. I build the world and the framework for an adventure. The players, like Nick, must then journey through the obstacles I set before them, rolling a 20-sided die and adding character-specific bonuses to see if they succeed. If they beat the number I have in my head, then their action is successful. If not, it is a failure, and there may be consequences. We try to follow the rules of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition as close as we can, but as the Dungeon Master, what I say goes, and there are some things I like to do differently.
Each season is its own contained story, so find one that sounds interesting to you and start from the top. And hey,
welcome to the club.
We had met with the Illuminati head honcho, a creepy kid with a penchant for fixing world events to go a certain way. Her way. Thankfully, Chuck and I were on the same page for the first time in weeks. We definitely didn't trust these shady dealers. And now, after all that, we still had to head down to the docks to meet up with Dick McCoy. Apparently, Marblemouth was getting transferred to Rikers, of all places, which had been empty ever since the magically assisted breakout. This whole thing smelled fishier than a skipper on laundry day.
Hero Club presents Paid Back in Spades, a Hank Blackstone mystery. Chapter 8, The Zarrow Shuffle.
As Hank and Charlie hop out of the cab, the scene is mayhem. A score of police officers form a huddle, shielding somebody in the middle from a flurry of reporters.
Over here, sir. Over here. What do you have to say about the
People are afraid. They're pulling over their families.
You have anything to say about the cover?
Before Hank and Charlie can reach the docks, a reporter runs up and assaults them with a barrage of questions.
Are you two involved? What do you have to say about this prisoner transfer?
No comment.
Hank attempts to push past the reporter towards where he assumes Dick McCoy is.
What are your names? Would you be willing to go on record?
Yeah, we're scram and beat it. Get out of here.
Within the chaos, you see an arm raise up and wave.
Hank, Charlie! Hank, over here!
Hank pushes through the crowd and towards Dick. Hey, Dick, what's going on here? You didn't tell us there was going to be a whole thing.
I didn't even know there was going to be a whole thing.
Dick, why are we even here?
I just need you two here because... Oh, Commissioner!
Dick, who the hell are these two?
These are the private investigators I was talking about, Commissioner. Commissioner, this is Henry Blackstone and Charlie Laporta.
Oh, for Christ's sakes, Dick, I told you we're trying to keep this small.
I think it's a little late for that, Commissioner.
Why'd you say Commissioner so weird?
I don't like authority figures.
And I don't like beatniks. So, Dick, these are the two with the history with Marblemouth?
Yes, sir.
All right. Keep them quiet, keep them out of the way.
Yes, sir. The commissioner walks back off and begins to prepare a large freight boat, which police officers begin to walk onto. And you see, carted along on a kind of gurney that is upright and vertical, strapped tight with leather straps, is Marblemouth. At the moment, his mouth is restrained, but as he is pulled backwards onto the freight boat, you see that he is staring directly at both Hank and Charlie. He's been acting really on edge and freaked out all day. They're just not telling us anything. This move to bring Marblemouth over to Rikers, it makes no sense. Why would we bring somebody over somewhere where everybody's disappearing?
Dick, just get on the boat. We'll be right there.
All right, I'll see you guys on there.
Charlie pulls Hank aside. Listen, Hank, what the supervisor said before we left, Alphonse Moretti knows you. I was on the phone with Marblemouth during my dream, and I listen, I know you don't give much credence to dreams, but I feel like the universe is trying to tell me something. Maybe we should be a little bit more careful. Something's up, and I think you might be in danger.
Look, I still don't think your dream holds any water, but when it comes to Marblemouth, we always have to be double careful.
Triple this time.
Let's go. I don't trust this commissioner to keep Marblemouth in chains.
Hank and Charlie make their way onto the large freight boat. It moves gently along the water, the din of the reporters eventually fading away. The boat comes up onto the docks on the side of Rikers Island, and the precinct of police officers rolls Marblemouth into Rikers prison. All the lights are out. There are still holes in the fence and wall from a few nights previous, and as soon as all of the police officers enter the building, they begin to set up shop. Desks, filing cabinets, boxes of coffee, large spotlights, rows of flashlights, weaponry, etc. Marblemouth is rolled a little bit past the hubbub to a very large and spacious cell with thick iron bars, definitely meant to hold multiple people at once. His gurney is rolled to the middle of this room, and he is left strapped in. Before one of the officers leaves Marblemouth in the cell, he goes to remove Marblemouth's mouth binding.
Hank puts a hand on that man's shoulder. I'd just leave that where it is. You can never be too careful with freaks like these.
The man shrugs and walks out of the room. Dick McCoy comes up behind Hank and Charlie. Hey, so, I got some stuff to fill you in on.
Yeah, let's do it away from Marblemouth. I don't like how he's looking at us.
Marblemouth's gaze is intense.
Hank pulls Dick and Chuck outside of the cell. All right, spill, McCoy.
So we've had Moretti locked up for a little while, right? Not too long, like 24 hours, something like that? So far, there have been 3 people in to question him, after you guys. And, man, it's easier if I show you. He leads Hank and Charlie into a small administrative office, where there is a projector set up. Man, the guy set this up fast. Okay, he looks through a rack of films, selects one, slots it into the projector. You guys are gonna wanna sit down.
Hank and Charlie do.
Dick fiddles with the projector, it sputters, and a video is projected onto the wall. You see Marblemouth sitting quietly in a chair in a holding room. A tie-wearing police officer scribbles notes and appears to ask Marblemouth a question, silently, of course. Marblemouth does not respond. The police officer seems to prod a bit further, wagging the pen at Marblemouth. Still nothing. Marblemouth's eyes are downcast to the floor. Then when the officer clearly gets a bit more aggressive, Marblemouth's eyes shoot from the floor to the policeman across from him. The police officer freezes. He drops the pen. His hands go to his ears, and he appears to start screaming at Marblemouth. He springs up out of his chair, still screaming at Moretti across from him, throws a chair, throws the table, crumbles to his knees, appears to scream to the floor, and then 2 more police officers emerge and drag the man out. Marblemouth returns his gaze to the floor. Dick turns the projector off. We gave him some coffee, gave him something to eat, and then 20 minutes later, that guy jumped off the top of the building.
Oh my God.
And then we had 2 more guys go in. Same thing happened, but we got ahead of the, building jumping thing. So they're locked up, haven't been able to make sense of anything they've been saying, except the 3rd guy said something about how he couldn't hear anybody over the music.
Marblemouth's always going on about the music, about how he used to think that he played the music and now the music plays him, something like that.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's very, very disturbing.
Well, Commissioner Roberts went in with a couple of us, and Moretti said his first thing that he said to any of us since you guys left, which was that he knew what was going on at Rikers and that he could show us. So that's why we're here. Commissioner decided to make it permanent, set up a little outpost of sorts and, double with the investigation and keeping Marblemouth close. I think he thinks that if Marblemouth is with us, then nothing bad will happen. I'm just trying to justify this whole thing. It seems crazy.
Hey, Dick, play the film one more time.
Dick obliges.
On this watch-through, Hank studies it a little closer, looking specifically at Marblemouth and trying to glean any new information.
Hank, roll a perception check with disadvantage.
15.
You don't notice anything.
Charlie studies the film as well.
Roll a perception check.
20.
Hank and Charlie focus only on Marblemouth as they view the film one more time. Hank appears perplexed, but Charlie, you notice that at some point during the video, a little bit of Marblemouth's hair seems to blow around like a breeze, just for a split second, and the motion is so small, almost anyone would miss it completely.
Wait, you see that? It's like a breeze is in the room or something.
Dick plays the tape again. Oh yeah, look at that.
You think he was using some magic?
The magic around him when he was in the boat seemed to calm all the wind, so it stands to reason that it could do the opposite.
It doesn't really seem like he's doing anything. Do you think it's something that's invisible, or maybe it's the music he keeps talking about?
Was anyone in the observation room? Could they hear if he said anything, or?
A couple of people. They just heard the guy screaming for the music to stop, and Marblemouth didn't say anything. Nobody heard anything except Mikey screaming.
Those other two guys that didn't kill themselves, where are they now?
Oh, we got them in straitjackets. They're getting shipped over to the loony bin.
Could we maybe try to have a word before they get shipped off?
Yeah, I could probably arrange something. Probably wouldn't be for a couple of days. I'm telling you, you really might not get much out of him. After the guy screamed for the music to stop, he started talking in some kind of language that wasn't the language. We know because we asked a professor from New York University to come down and see if it was anything known, and came up with nothing.
Dick, doesn't it strike you as odd that Marblemouth, who we know has the ability to influence people, is suddenly being moved to this very unsecure prison? I mean, you think maybe your commissioner has been affected in some way?
I mean, I don't think so. He seems to be acting like himself except for this decision, which, now that I'm thinking about it, he might just be a very bad commissioner.
Dick, give us a few minutes in the room with Marblemouth. We'll see what we can get out of him.
All right. Man, thought that was gonna be something.
Charlie grabs the roll of film from the projector just before they head out. This might come in handy later.
All right, don't let anybody know you took that, okay? Follow me. And he brings Hank and Charlie to Marblemouth's cell, unlocks the door, walks into the cell, and very tentatively undoes Marblemouth's muzzle, and walks quickly out of the room, slamming the door shut behind him. Marblemouth is motionless. 5 minutes, guys, okay? And he walks away.
I was hoping you wouldn't be here. It's dangerous.
I think we're right where we're supposed to be, Marblemouth.
Tell us about the cops who interrogated you. Did you do something to them?
I told them that they were just feeding it. Everyone they brought in, new listeners for the music. They never listen. I thought it was gone, but it's there. Like a song you can't quite get out of your head.
So what's the plan here? You get all these cops to bring you over to Rikers, flip the switch, and you got a whole new army of Purple Eyes, is that it? Take them down to your sewer lair?
Do you know how this song goes, Henry? We could hum it together.
Hank, what's he talking about?
He's just talking crazy, Chuck. Why don't you give him some chin music?
Hank, I'm not gonna punch the guy.
Why not? You punch every guy.
I mean, not now.
The music has been wrong about you, Charlie. You're not a monster. You hear that? Music. Charlie's good.
Listen, Marblemouth, this might seem like an odd question, but do you remember calling me last night?
Oh, is this about the dream, Chuck?
Shh, Hank.
I'm in prison, Charlie. You having dreams about little old Alphonse Moretti?
This time as Marblemouth coughs, his marble jaw squeaks a little bit.
You got a screw loose?
They won't let me oil it, boys. I'm getting a little rusty.
Okay, Marblemouth. The music. Is it here with us right now?
Marblemouth nods.
It's always here, up inside my head. The bass line that's playing softly underneath. It rumbles. It didn't want to come back here. They had to know. They had to find it.
Find what, Marblemouth? Is there something underneath Rikers in the sewer? Where those people went?
Blackstone. Go see for yourself. See the harmony the doctor wrote.
Hank walks into the cell and muzzles Marblemouth roughly. I think that's as much as we need to hear from you, Marblemouth. All right, Chuck, let's go check out that sewer.
Hank and Charlie make their way outside to the sewer grate. You see that it is still welded shut.
Charlie jumps up into the air and attempts to stomp through it.
Roll an athletics check.
15.
With a clang, Charlie stomps on the grate to no avail.
Charlie tries one more time to stomp through it. 27.
This time, the grate plummets down into the sewer below with a splash of water.
You ready to do this?
No, but let's do it anyway.
Hank and Charlie shuttle down the ladder and turn around, about 3 inches of water coming up around their ankles, and cast their moonlight flashlight around what was probably once a sewer, but now resembles much more of a cave.
Okay, this is interesting.
Both of you make a nature check.
4.
21.
Hank, you quickly deduce that the pipe walls of this sewer have been blown outwards. Normally, this pipe should probably be a perfect sphere, but you see it now as a rough rectangle, as if something of immense size has shuttled its way through the pipe, blasting the walls outward. And along each wall and the ceiling is a thick layer of green ooze. The tunnel continues forward into the blackness.
Hank walks over to one of the walls and takes a finger, dragging it through the green ooze and pulling it up in front of Charlie.
It's extremely viscous and sticks to Hank's hand with a sticky gum-like consistency.
Chuck, we've seen this ooze before, in the other sewer when we were chasing a hern.
Right, I just figured it was sewer ooze just because it's super gross down here.
Yeah, me too. Super gross. But now looking at this cave, it looks more like some sort of creature did this.
Yeah, like how a slug leaves a little slimy trail.
Yeah. You think when Marblemouth said the music that the doctor wrote, you think he was talking about some sort of evolution of those gross squid monsters that the doctor had?
Yeah, those squids with the hands at the end of their tentacles that they stole from their victims?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, we didn't clear them out when we killed the doctor. We just kind of killed him and moved on.
We figured maybe killing the doctor would kill all the squids, but maybe we were wrong? Hold on, let's follow this ooze, huh?
Hank shines the moonlight flashlight around the cavern, investigating for a clear path.
There seems to be only one path forward, and Hank and Charlie keep moving along, the sewer cave walls dripping once in a while with the thick ooze. Finally, Hank and Charlie reach something of a waterfall. It descends about 25 feet down, and the ground is obscured in darkness. Hank, as you shine your flashlight down into the cavern, you notice a couple of objects floating in the water. Can you roll a perception check? With disadvantage.
12.
Your eyes are bleary with exhaustion.
Looks like there's something in the water.
Hold on, let me take a look.
Roll a perception check.
19.
Charlie, you make out cloth-like rags floating in the water.
Rags or something.
Hank checks the surrounding darkness to see if there's a safe place to land.
There does appear to be a ladder that descends down into this cavern.
All right, here goes nothing, and Hank descends the ladder.
And Charlie follows.
And landing in the cavern, amidst about 2 feet of water, you make out clearly what is floating. It's clothing, in some cases, khaki prison attire that appears to have been dyed red, and in other cases, Riker's staff uniforms.
Okay, I think we know where everybody went.
And after taking only one sloshy step forward, Hank sees an eyeless head floating through the water, its mouth open and aghast.
Well, asked and answered, I guess. Hank sloshes over to the head and picks it up, investigating it closer.
There's a thin layer of green ooze coating it.
Well, I think I might have been onto something with that whole evolution of the Doctor's creature thing. And maybe Marblemouth was feeding these guys to it.
Yeah, that could be a valid theory. I don't think you're wrong. I don't know. Can we keep going down? See what else is down here?
Hank shines the flashlight around.
On the far wall, you find a tunnel. And then moving your flashlight a little more, you find another tunnel. And another, and another, and another. And you realize that every single wall and surface of this cave appears to branch out into a different separate cave, like a hive.
Man, there's so many of them. Where do you think they go?
I mean, we must be under the Hudson by now. These tunnels go everywhere.
Charlie takes the moonlight flashlight and shines it down one of the tunnels to see how far it goes.
The answer is far.
Yeah, these things could probably cover all of New York, under everybody's feet. He said the music below, the harmony that the doctor wrote. So I guess the Nazi doctor must have done something before we punched his ticket, huh?
Or maybe this was happening at the same time. Maybe the flight night that we stopped was just misdirection, and this is the Prestige.
Yeah, but why would they wait 5 years after flight night to do what they really planned to do?
Maybe they had to wait this long to let the thing get this big.
I don't think there's much point in following any of these tunnels, right?
Not if we like keeping our hands and eyes. I say we call it a night with all the info we just gathered and head back to Dante's and sleep on it. We've learned a lot today.
Yeah, maybe I can check a few of my books, see if there's anything about that slime in there.
Hank takes a test tube out of his pocket and puts a healthy amount of the slime into it before putting a stopper in on top. And I can put this through Dante's scanner. We'll get to the bottom of this.
And Charlie and Hank climb back up the ladder, trying to go back to the prison.
A while later, at around 2 a.m., Hank and Charlie walk back into Dante's Inferno.
Chuck, let's call it a night. I couldn't be more exhausted.
Yeah, I hear you, Hank. You just go sleep it off. And, if anything weird happens to you in the night, I'll be right over here. I don't want to dream again. It was a little traumatic.
Well, Chuck, you can't dream if you don't sleep. Good night.
Yeah, good night, Hank.
Hank goes into his room and closes the door.
Charlie does the same.
Hank goes through the motions of going to bed. He takes off his suit, puts all of his items on a shelf, puts on an undershirt and flannel pajama bottoms, and gets into bed. But for the first 10 minutes in bed, he can't help but stare wide-eyed at the ceiling. He gets up and peeks out of his door to see where Charlie is.
The main room is empty. Roll a stealth check with disadvantage.
27.
Hank silently creeps into the vault and gets to the Necronomicon, this time taking the film along with him.
Hank unspools the film and looks at it through a small jeweler's glass, frame by frame, and as he does, he flips through the Necronomicon and cross-references, looking for any similarities.
Hank doesn't find anything, but does find himself back on Marblemouth's spells page. Several grotesque images of people being puppeted by invisible strings on the bottom right-hand corner. Hank, roll another Arcana check.
13.
Once again, when trying to decipher what the focus is that Marblemouth uses for his spell, you come up short.
Hank specifically looks through the book, looking for text references to violins and viols.
Roll an Arcana check.
17.
You do find something. A little passage elsewhere that speaks of a violin that can shatter mountains, though its context is completely baffling. But then, when you go back to the original page, you see similar markings, and you can glean that the focus Marblemouth uses is a violin. Furthermore, the notes necessary to perform the spell, played in a certain sequence with a certain timing, becomes much more apparent and easily decipherable. All things considered, if Hank had a violin on him, he now has all the components necessary to cast the spell.
Hank copies these all down into his notebook and returns to the Necronomicon, looking for passages about unnatural wind and weather.
Roll an Arcana check with disadvantage.
17.
Somewhere in the book, again, context completely eluding you, you do find a couple of passages that describe wind and unexplained weather as a side effect of dark presence, whatever that means.
Having written that down and circling it a few times, Hank goes back to the Necronomicon one more time, specifically looking for the phrase Forantur eum.
This is quite easy. It's the last page of the book. Roll an Arcana check with disadvantage.
20.
Hank begins to decipher words within the passage at the end of the book and comes up with the following.
Hank writes the words he can decipher down in his notebook. Restore, bond, gift, pact, power, payment. Frontor eum. Steal life.
Hank, make a charisma save.
21.
Hank is still seeing in only black and white. The ringing in his ears has been present for over 24 hours. Both of these effects remain in place. Hank, suddenly, in your nose, you smell a deep, acrid sulfur. It's repugnant. It even causes you to reel back a few steps, and as it does, the Necronomicon slams shut, and then the smell disappears. You glance up at the clock on the wall. 9:45 a.m.
Hank makes an exhausted beeline for his bed and flops face down on it, passing out immediately.
Earlier that evening,
Charlie goes to his room and looks at his bed. He's conflicted. He doesn't want to have another nightmare, but he could really use the rest. So reluctantly, he takes off his glasses of disguise and gets ready for bed. Slowly but surely, he crawls in and attempts to drift off to a hopefully dreamless sleep.
Charlie falls asleep, but his hopes are in vain. Charlie finds himself on a long bridge. On either side, dark, still water that almost looks like a black void. And ahead of Charlie, the bridge leads to Riker's prison. He's completely alone.
Charlie, not sure if he's dreaming or not, slaps himself a little bit on the leg.
Roll a wisdom save.
4.
It feels very real. As he walks towards Riker's, he makes progress on the bridge, but the prison doesn't grow any closer. And as he walks forward, Charlie feels a presence behind him.
Who's there?
Whipping around, he sees, standing stock still once again, the golem that is almost a direct copy of Charlie.
You again? Get out of here! What do you want? Leave me alone, please!
The golem stares with black eyes and smiles.
Pal, I don't know what you're smiling about, but I don't want no part of this. Okay, so just go.
And then, behind Charlie, a voice perks up.
Charlie, come quick.
Marblemouth? No, I'm not listening to you.
Whipping around, Charlie sees Marblemouth, but without his marble jaw. His face is completely restored. In fact, with his eyebrows raised, he looks positively earnest to see you.
I'm not who you think I am, Charlie. I know where the clover is, and I know what he wants. Come with me.
Know what who wants? What are you talking about?
That thing over there, Charlie. That thing behind you.
Marblemouth crawls up on the fence bordering the bridge and stands.
Follow me, Charlie. I'll get us both out of this.
And he falls backwards over the bridge. There is no splash.
What? Charlie hesitantly looks around, looks back towards the copy of him,
which is now at least 40 feet closer.
Charlie leaps off the bridge, closing his eyes as he does it.
There's no impact after the fall, but Charlie opens his eyes, and he is amidst a green field of clovers. The same field he was in his first dream.
Charlie slaps himself on the leg again.
Make a wisdom save.
Nat 20.
Charlie gets a grip and realizes fully that he is in a dream.
Okay, I'm dreaming. I've seen this hill before. What is this?
Damn right you're dreaming, Charlie.
Marblemouth sits cross-legged on the hill, a bit above Charlie.
What is this? Marblemouth, are you really Marblemouth?
Marblemouth looks at his hands.
Is that who you see me as right now? Damn, Charlie. Why do you think you keep dreaming about him?
I don't know. Wait, who else can I see you as? What's going on?
I don't know, Charlie. I'm just a part of you. Like he is, like all of this.
Charlie, gazing over your shoulder, you see the stone golem behind you, but its eyes are that of an inanimate statue, and it is completely motionless.
Can you just tell me what is going on? Give me some answers. I don't know what to do.
I know what you know, Charlie. Look, let's try to parse this out together, all right? We've been here before, right? This field?
Yeah.
And that thing attacked us both. You, us, attacked us, right?
Yeah, and probably in a second I'm gonna find Elvira's deck, and there's gonna be the clover again.
as Charlie says Elvira's deck, he sees it at his feet.
There it is. Yep, right on time.
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising, Charlie. You have control over this place. It's yours, but something's trying to warn us.
I'm trying to warn myself. And you're me and he's me. And I have control over this whole thing, right?
We haven't dreamt before, but you said Elvira's deck, and there it is, and I don't know.
Alright, so all I gotta do is dream up somebody who would have the answers. Okay, Dante, are you in here somewhere?
Far up on the hill, a little patch of grass rustles, and barely you can see the faint outline of Dante standing atop the hill.
Dante, come down here. I need help.
Dante shakes his head no.
Charlie, he knows what you know, and he doesn't know what you don't.
Dante points behind Charlie.
What is it? Charlie looks behind him.
The statue of the stone golem is now holding Elvira's deck.
Charlie walks up to the statue and investigates it further.
It is completely unmoving, and there's no scary aura around the object, like there was around the golem with the dark eyes.
Okay, so it's a statue version of me holding Elvira's deck. What's it trying to warn me about? It's trying to warn me about going back in the deck, about my own death?
Looking up, you see Dante still pointing and still shaking his head.
Is it trying to warn me about the doctor, about the music, about Deirdre Dullahan, about Ahern? What? What is it?
Maybe it's about the deck, Charlie. I mean, it's always about this fucking deck.
Charlie grabs the deck from the statue.
Roll a charisma save.
Botch.
You don't notice anything happen.
We can't let anyone get their hands on this thing.
I know. It's safe here. It's in the store. No one's gonna lay a hand on it.
Charlie, as you look up from the deck at the statue of the golem, you see its eyes slowly turn dark, and you see in your other hand the Jack of Spades.
Are you saying that if I draw the Jack of Spades, I'm gonna turn into this thing?
The golem begins to walk forward towards Charlie.
Whatever it is, if it's you or not, just don't let it get the deck. Find the clover.
The golem begins to walk towards Charlie faster.
The clover got us out every time, right?
Yeah.
Get the clover, get out of the dream, I'll hold him off.
Charlie nods to this version of Marble Mouth and runs away from the golem and attempts to manifest the clover. All right, come on, Clover. I control the dream. Clover, in my hand, now.
Turning over your shoulder, you see Marble Mouth is gone, and only the golem remains. It's gaining on you. Roll a perception check, Charlie.
19.
Charlie, you see the clover. At the top of the hill, it begins to sprout out of the ground where Dante once stood.
Charlie sprints towards the clover going up the hill.
The golem behind him just walks. Charlie reaches the top of the mountain, the clover at his eye level.
Charlie grabs it
and wakes up.
Ugh.
Charlie is outside on the stoop of Dante's Inferno.
What?
And in his left hand is Elvira's deck.
What? Charlie looks around to make sure that no one's seen him in his true rock form.
Nobody on the sidewalk.
Oh, thank God. Charlie looks at Elvira's deck in his hands. What the hell just happened? Charlie holds the deck close to his chest and makes his way back inside.
As Charlie heads indoors, headlights flick on from the other side of the street. An engine turns over, and a police car disappears into the night.
Hit it, boys! Yeah, just like that. Watch your step when you step outside. The roads are narrow and the river's wide, and no one knows what waits inside. So watch your step when you step outside. And watch your step when the path is slick. The shadows here can play a dirty trick, and moonlight's such a fickle guide. So watch your step when you step outside. You want your freedom.
This has been a Hero Club production, produced by Nick Williams, George Primavera, and Jack Quaid, with associate producers Marty Abbe-Schneider and Dylan McCollum. Voice acting by George Primavera, Nick Williams, Jack Quaid, Dylan McCollum, Carson Fagerbakke, and Marty Abbe-Schneider. Theme song written and performed by Matthew McCollum. Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod and Ben Doyle for their amazing music, Mage Hand Press for their genius D&D 5th edition homebrew, Marty Abbe-Schneider for his incredible artwork, and Ali Catanese, our hero. Follow our social media at Hero Club Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, and at Hero Club Pod on Twitter, to keep in the loop about some very exciting new stuff coming up the road. And hey, welcome to the club.
When you step outside, oh yeah! I'm ready to write down, please, officer, anything you have.